guys and gals, Travis here with Crawlerworks RC. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on a TRX 4M Bronco, but not just any Bronco, but the Bronco that started it all. To give you a little backstory on this particular rig, this is the first RC crawler that we ever purchased. My son had dug a couple of old bashers that we had out of the closet. One of them was a Traxxas Stampede, the other one I think was an ESC Rustler. We ordered some parts online, ordered some batteries, got them up and running. And I told him that we had a hobby store about 30 minutes from us that had everything we would want to hop up the two trucks. So long story short, we went to the hobby store, and as fortune would have it, it was the day that Traxxas released the TRX 4Ms to the public. My son bought the black Bronco you see here, and I bought a Defender. Well, as you know, in this hobby, one thing led to another, and we bought the Mias Ripper chassis for his Bronco. We bought the Injora Tarantula chassis for my Defender. And the rest, you might say, is history. So me and my son was talking, and he was wanting to bring his Bronco back from the grave. So I told him, I said, hey, let me do it. Let me buy some parts. Let me take care of everything. I want to do it. I want to make a video out of it. I want to do it as a gift for him. So I went online and I started ordering parts. I ordered, I think everything came from Injora. I may be wrong on that, but I'm pretty certain everything came from Injora. We'll know here in a minute when I get it all out. I ordered a 380 transmission and motor along with a brass skid plate. I went with that motor and transmission because we're going to upgrade eventually to their new brushless system. We ordered the high clearance LCG chassis. We ordered the high clearance links. I ordered the ones for a high trail because we're going to put those on his Ripper to extend the wheelbase on it, and then take the high clearance links that are on it and put on this truck. We also ordered a new drive shafts. We ordered the Injora steering servo, the new Injora axles, along with some 1.3 wheels and tires. So let's go down here to the beach. All right, guys, what we have right here in front of us is the Injora LCG universal chassis. It works for the Bronco and the Defender, and it also works for the high trail. Just have to add the little pieces to the end of it. So you see it laying here on the bench. It's not a whole lot to it. It's basically the front and the back frame rails are separate. You have to put those together. It's got some spacers, only 2 spacers. They are different lengths. One is longer than the other. The longer one goes in the back. The shorter one goes in the front. The ESC tray goes in the back. You'll see that here in just a second when we start putting it together. So it just slides right in. No issues there. It's pretty self-explanatory. You have a long slot and a short slot, so it's not like you can get it wrong. I went ahead and put some Velcro on mine before I put it in because I'm just going to put Velcro on the bottom of my ESC and stick it on there, and also my receiver. The easiest way that I found is to take the spacer that goes in the back. I just use the very far forward hole on the shock towers. When we get it all together, that may change, but just go ahead and put that piece on one side. Use some Loctite. It's important to use Loctite if they're going into any screws that are going into any sort of metal, aluminum, steel, brass, whatever. It's important to use Loctite so they don't back out. So go ahead and screw that on, and then take your ESC tray, slide it into place, put your other frame rail on, and then screw it together. And then you have the back done. The back is all together. The back is finished. So now all we have to do is we put the front 2 pieces on. They're very easy. They go onto the inside of the frame rails. You'll see there's 2 holes in the very bottom of that piece, and those 2 holes line up with the top 2 holes on the front of the back frame rails. They don't necessarily need any Loctite on them because they're going to be using a nylock nut, a castle nut, whatever you want to call it. You can put Loctite if you want to. It's not going to hurt anything, but those screw on there. Then you're going to take the short brace, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it in the far back hole, very top in the shock towers. This is a screw going into aluminum, so I'm going to put some Loctite on it, Loctite those in. And then the only other thing left to have this frame finished is the brackets to hold the bumpers on. There again, they're self-explanatory, and Injora did a really good job with that. If you look at the frame rails on the front, you'll see that there's 3 holes. There's 2 bigger holes that are horizontal, then right above it makes an A is a little small hole. And if you look at the pieces, they correspond. On the back, it's 4, same 2 big horizontal holes, and then there's 2 holes vertical above and below. in the center right there, smaller, self-explanatory. Put some Loctite on them, screw those in, and you're done. The frame's done. If you were doing it for a high trail, there's some other pieces. We're not, so I'm not going to go down that road today. But for all intents and purposes, the frame is completed. The frame is done. It's ready for you to start putting your skid and all that stuff in. All right, so here we have the skid from Injora. It's the brass heavy skid. They make this in black also. I chose to do the shiny brass. I don't know. That's what my son wanted, so that's what we did. It's a really nice piece. It's well machined. So now we're going to start putting some links on it. If you're wondering how to differentiate the front from the back, the front has 2 holes. The back only has 1. So I'm putting the Injora high clearance links on the front. As you see here, it is a screw going into metal or into brass, so you need to make sure you put Loctite on it. And then in the back, I'm using the Mias high clearance links, and I explained that in the front of the video, but I bought the High Trails edition, put the long links on the back of a Mias Ripper build that he had. So anyway, so there is the finished skid with the lower links on it. I'm really happy with it, really happy with how it came out. It's a nice piece. Excited to see how it's going to all work together. Okay, so now we're going to put these together. We've got our chassis that we built and our skid, and we're going to put these 2 together. The cool thing about how Traxxas did theirs, and obviously Injora does the same thing, that extra hole in the front is a small screw that you can put on either side that actually holds the skid into the chassis. Okay, so now we're going to install the battery tray. This Injora carbon fiber battery tray, I really like it. Super nice, well made. It just bolts just like the stock one did. It comes with little screws. Obviously, we're going to use Loctite because it's going in metal. I've said it once, I've said it 10 times. I'm using a little, I didn't show it there, but I'm using a little small, maybe a millimeter spacer between it and the skid just to hold it up a little bit, because I'm going to put some sliders on it that I printed, and it still probably should have went up a little bit more, but anyway, you'll see that a little later on in the video. So it bolts right up just like the stock one did. 2 holes in the back, bolts right on, no issues, works really well. Now let's move on to getting the axles installed. I have the rear axle here and a set of rock sliders that I designed in Fusion 360 and 3D printed. I'll throw a couple of pictures up so that you can get a better view of the sliders. So let's put this together.
God, I messed up again. I didn't pay a preacher's 10. I gave it to someone in need. Does that mean you won't bless me? God, I'm trying hard not to curse in my car, even when the traffic's bad. Did you ever get really mad? I'm on my way to church, gonna sing songs even if it hurts. But honestly, I feel more when I leave. I can't figure out quite why all of the smoke and the lights don't bring me closer to this real world's walking and talking to you. God, I missed this time. I slept until night. Instead I got down just tried to hear you breathe. God, I'm a little scared to see what goes on in there. It's more like a movie scene, like a tithing experience. I'm on my way to church, gonna sing songs even if it hurts. But honestly, I feel more when I leave. I can't figure out quite why all of the smoke and the lights don't bring me closer to this real world's walking and talking to you. And I don't wanna accuse what you love. If it's important to you, make it important to me. But there's just some things that I can't quite understand. If you made the world, why does church feel made by man? But I'm on my way to church, gonna sing songs even when it hurts. But honestly, gotta feel more when I leave. Can't figure out quite why all of the smoke and lights don't bring me closer to this real world's walking and talking to you. This real world's walking and talking to you.
So here are my final thoughts on the build. Everything went together really easy. All the Injora parts fit together really well. I may come back later. I've got a Defender that we bought at the same time that we bought this truck. This was my son's, and I bought the Defender. I may come back at a later date and build my Defender, and I may use all Mias or something along those lines, so there's actually a baseline that we can compare it against. But I'm happy with it thus far. So give you a little walk around here, show you what it looks like. The only thing that we changed on the body from what it was is I did cut the fenders. There's the front fender. There's the back fender. So I did shape those. And other than that, the body is just like it was before we took it apart, and he bought the Mias Ripper kit and built the Ripper out of the parts from this truck. So let me give you a shot of the underside. So there it is with the rock sliders. You can see how those fit. Nice and snug. So let's get it outside and let's see how it does. This video is approved by Doodles, the Adventure Poodle. Thanks for watching.